There's a lot of debate over what the best weapons are in Chivalry 2, but what about the other great ones that fly under the radar? What's going on, guys? My name is Chronic, and today we're going to talk about the two weapons that might not be the best, but certainly don't get the recognition they deserve in the typical weapon tiers of Chivalry 2. With that said, let's get to it. The Rapier was a bit of a disappointment to the Chivalry 2 community when it released, and thus it hasn't really been given much justice since then. And since it's usually ranked very low, or even called useless in people's weapon tier lists, I don't think the Rapier gets the recognition it deserves as more than just a situational weapon. I would argue that it's almost as good as the one-handed sword. Part of the reason for the hate is that quite a few players believe that the Rapier should have been added to the Ambusher subclass of Vanguard, due to its stabbing speed and general ability to confuse opponents and backstab. Since it was put alongside the one-handed sword, the one-handed spear, and the falchion, all high-tier weapons for the man-at-arms class, the Rapier never had a chance when it came to being considered a high-tier weapon. In fact, it has the same general stats as the one-handed sword, making it like a stabby cousin. How could one weapon get so much love and one get so much hate even though they're so similar, even down to the stats? I think in this case, if they are already playing as man-at-arms, people either like to use the one-handed sword or the one-handed spear, since their defensive abilities are generally better than the Rapier's. But the Rapier ties these weapons' attacks into a sleek little sword with very high speed and reliable handling, leaving plenty of room for fancy footwork, like a real-life fencer, which will keep you alive just as long. You just need to remember to work in movements and dodges rather than more attacks. But now, it's time to move on to the other weapon on our list today, the Glaive. The Glaive, though considered a lower tier weapon, is an extremely viable weapon in Chivalry 2, having some of the best maneuverability out of any two-handed weapon in the game. It usually isn't rated higher due to its inability to handle 1vx situations, but where it often gets overlooked is its ability to wreak havoc and rack up points. I think generally this weapon gets hate because most raiders and footmen who wield the Glaive don't typically play like people who main Devastator or Ambusher, two subclasses that must use footwork and trickery significantly more than others. The Glaive, much like the other heaviest and lightest weapons like the Highland Sword and War Club, is meant for deception. Using drags, excels, and feints is just as important as it is with the halberd and greatsword when it comes to fast and underpowered weapons like the Glaive. The tip of the Glaive is where all the damage is. Think of it as a very quick, smaller version of the halberd. Similar to the halberd, you find that the opponents have a rough time blocking a blade that's positioned so far away from their own weapon, and by instinct they'll block the shaft of the Glaive. You can use their confusion to basically wrap the weapon around their body and hit them at the side or top of the head. Well, there you have it. These are, in my opinion, the two most overlooked and underrated weapons in Chivalry 2. Let me know in the comments below if you agreed with my choices. If not, what would be your picks? Thanks again, guys. Chronic out.